Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Pei Aleph Amid Aleph. We did the sugya of Kaiseves, the share of Kaiseves. We did the sugya of Malay Lagmav, tremendous chiddush that by Achila, that the Yom Kippur is not a din in Achila, it's a din in Inui, and therefore the share of Kaiseves because of Yusuvei Daite and Kimlu L'Rabbanon, that the Kaiseves, it takes the edge off. Mashen Kane, a Kazayas would not. And therefore, Kaiseves, which is larger than a Zayas, it's somewhere between a Zayas and a Beitza. Right? A Zayas is, there are two Zaysim in a Beitza or three Zaysim in a Beitza according to the Rambam. So somewhere in between that is the Kaiseves, between a regular Beitza and a Kazayas. We saw Mali Lugmav is dependent upon the individual. Right, the Kimlu the Rabbanon, the share of Mali Lagmav, it depends upon the individual. Allah L'maisafel is that a person has to drink Roiv Mali Lagmav or Roiv Revius, in Kiddush. Now, I'm not talking about Yom Kippur. The share of Mali Lagmav is brought in Kiddush, and the person has to drink Roiv Mali Lagmav or Roiv Revius. Mali Lagmav here would be 2 cheeks, and that's Roiv Revius to be Yotza, the Chiyuv of Kiddush. Which brings us to today's daf. Achol v'shasa pei aleph and aleph the Mishnah. Achol v'shasa behelam echad. If a person does 2 things, he eats and he drinks in one halama. He forgot it's Yom Kippur, and he ate and he drank. Ein chayev ela chatas achas. He only uses chayev 1. Shtia will be b'chal achila. Shtia will be b'chal achila, and therefore it's over 1 iser, 1 inoy, and therefore you be chayev only once. Achol vas malacha. However, if he eats and does malacha, those are 2 separate things. Chayiv shtei chatois, then you be chayiv 2 chatois. So if you eat on Yom Kippur and you work on Yom Kippur, the halama achas, one halama, then you'll be chayiv to bring 2 chatois. Achlu oichlin she'ena ruyan la'achila. If you eat food that is not right to be eaten, or v'shasa mashkin she'ena ruya l'shtia, you drink something that's not right to be drunk, or v'shasa tzir or imurius, brine or some type of juice, then potter, that would be potter. That is not considered an achila. That's not considered achila. So we're going to shtel sechan, fellas, that where is the source for the azhara? Where's the source for the azhara of inui? Now, and again, it says, it's a mitzvah, v'inisim es nafshay sechem. It's a mitzvah, the Torah says, to go ahead and be ma'ani yourself. That seems to be a mitzvah asay. Go ahead and be ma'ani yourself. On the other hand, it tells us, if you're not ma'ani yourself, if you're not, you get kares. We know in order to get it punished, you need an ashara. You need the pasuk in the Torah which warns me, or a limud in the Torah which warns me. Why will I get kares if I go ahead and eat? The first part of today's daf is trying to figure out where that ashara is. Where exactly is that ashara? That if you go ahead and eat on Yom Kippur, you will get kares. Now we know you get kares. It's a pasuk. The question is, where's the ashara from? Where's the warning from? Amrei Shlakish. Malay nemra ashara be'inoi. Why doesn't it say ashara b'inui? Right? Why it just says lashon of what? V'inisem es nafshe seichem. It says a lashon of this is why you should be ma'ani yourself. Why doesn't it say a lav? And for the Gemara, Mishnah lo yefsha, it's not possible. Heichi nichtav, what would you write? Nichtav rachmana lo yochal, do not eat. So guys, we got a problem. Achila pikazayis, achila is pikazayis. We all know by now that Yom Kippur is not an inyan of. It's not an inyan of achila. It's not an inyan of achila. It's an inyan of Yisuvei Daite. So therefore, you can't write "don't eat" on Yom Kippur because then you mistakenly think that it's a din of achila and the share is a kazayis. That the Torah should write, "You shall not be afflicted." It's mashma loisuna kum oichel mashma. Don't be afflicted. Ella what? Go up and eat. Don't put yourself. In other words, it's right. Don't be afflicted. You would tell yourself, well, don't be afflicted. So what's the opposite of don't be afflicted? To go ahead and eat. So therefore, that's that you can use that lashon. Maskalar v'shaya nichdav vonan hishama pen loisuna. Be careful, pen less loisuna. You're not afflicted. We know the lashon guy says shema pen in the Torah is a lav. The lashon of hishama is a lashon of a lav. Pen is a lav, right? So therefore, write that hishama pen loisuna. It's a lav that you should not go ahead and be afflicted, meaning be careful to be afflicted. So in Cain, if you're going to write that lashon, the fishilu lavim, You're gonna have extra lavim. You'll have a lav for a shomer, you'll have a lav for a pen, and a lav for lesuna. So you're gonna have too many, and we know it's only one. So therefore, it says Reish Lakish, the reason why the Torah doesn't write an asara is because we don't have a correct lashon. We don't have a possible lashon to go ahead and warn you. Now we know you're warned because there's a punishment, but as to what the warning is, we don't know. Maskala Rabbi Barabaya, I have a solution. Nichtav Rachmana Hishama b'mitzvahs inoi. Be careful b'mitzvahs inoi. Now, for example, Hishamer b'negat saras. Guys, what does that mean? Hishamer, be careful that you don't cut off a negat saras. Correct? Hishamer b'mitzvahs inoi. Be careful that what? That you make sure you don't eat. In Cain, that sounds like a mitzvah asay. A mitzvah asay, don't eat. In Cain, Hishamer the lav, Hishamer the asay. We already know it's an asay. It says v'nisim es nafshei seichem. So Hishamer, in that context, Hishamer the mitzvahs inoi. Mitzvahs inoi is it's mashma. Hishamer to keep that mitzvah asay to be ma'ana. We already know a mitzvah asay. V'nisim es nafshei seichem. We need a lav. This lashon is not a lav. Maskul Ravashi, I got a lav for you. Nichtoiv al taser mina inoi. Do not turn away from inoi, meaning stay and be ma'ana. Gemara says kasha inachinami. That is fair. In other words, that you could go ahead and use that lashon of leisasim minina. So in other words, that you Reish Lakish say we don't have an option. Here I have an option for you. Leisasor mina inoi. Do not turn away from inoi ela be ma'ana. So that l'chayra would work. Now we're going to go ahead and find a source. We're going to have 4 different shitas. The first one is a little complicated. To understand it, I put down the psukim of the Torah on this chart. You all can see this, yes? Yes, you can see? Let me get you out of the way. Watch. Pasuk Chav Vav. Vayidaber Hashem Moshe leimar, ach be'esel chodesh hashvi hazeh, the 10th day of the 7th month, Yom Kippurim hu, mikra kodesh yilachem, v'nisem es nafshei seichem, v'kratim mishla Hashem. So it says v'inui. So that's what we know. This is the din of inui Yom Kippur. Now, that inui we know meant what, guys? Le'inyan eating. That meant le'inyan eating. That what? You should be careful, be ma'ana yourself and don't eat. Now it says a second din what you shouldn't do. And no malacha can you do. So now we know there's 2 things. We know you have to be ma'ana yourself, and we know you can't work. The ashara not to work is clear. Here's a lav. Malacha lo sasu, you can't do. The nisem is not a loy. It's not a lav. So we have 2 azharas. One clear and one we're looking for. We have a clear azhara for malacha. We do not have a clear azhara for eating. Now, here's the punishment. Ki chol nefesh asher lo yisuuna be'etzem hayom hazeh. Any nefesh that will not be afflicted on this day, guess what? V'nichrosa me'amecha. He will be cut off from his nation. So we see that inui, if you eat on Yom Kippur, if you refrain from being in a state of affliction, you will get kares. So the einish is clear. Next pasuk, and any nefesh that works this day, this nefesh will be lost. He will also get kares. Rashi and Chumash says this is teaching me what kares is, that you're avad, you're lost. So guys, we have an einish chavtes for eating. We have an einish Lamed for working. We have an ashara for malacha working. We do not have a lav ashara for inui. Correct? You got it? So in other words, we need 4 things. 2 asharas, 2 punishments. We got the 2 punishment. We got 1 ashara for malacha. We don't have a lav of ashara for inui. That's what we're trying to figure out now. Guys, we're all good? Okay. I'll bring you back soon. Okay, guys, we're all set up? We're set up, right? Good. Now, we have a Tana that brings from here the Azhara for what? For Inui. We're going to bring in a long brisa, guys. At the end of the brisa, we're going to make our suggestion, okay? We're going to bring a long brisa. At the end of the brisa, we're going to make our suggestion of what the Azhara is. It says, it says, and you should pain yourself in Pasuk of Zayin. And then it says, those are the two psukim that have to do with Azhara. I might think that if you, again, when you stop doing work, Erev Yontif, before it's Yontif, we're stopping, Erev Yom Kippur, we're stopping working earlier. I might think you're punished then, that there's a punishment for working if you work before it's Yontif. Tamar Leimar, V'chol nefesh asher tasu kol malacha be'etzem hayom hazeh. On etzem hayom hazeh, on the day itself. On the day itself. Only on the etzem of Yom Kippur are you warned not to work. You're not. There's no azhara on Taisefes, on the addition. Continue. Al yitzumish lo yom anish kares kares al Taisefes malacha. Yachal lo yonish kares al Taisefes malacha al yonish kares al Taisefes inui. So I might think, fellas, we know we start fasting earlier. We're Taisef on the inui. I might think if you eat in that earlier zman, you get kares. Talmud Leimar and Pasuk Chavtes. Kichol nefesh asher lo suuna be'etzem hayom hazeh. Guys, look at Pasuk Chavtes. Kichol nefesh asher lo suuna be'etzem hayom hazeh. V'nichnas hameyamecha. When do you get kares? Be'etzem hayom hazeh. Not in the additional day, the day itself. But earlier, Taisefes, that you're not going to get what? You're not going to get kares for. Again, this is not, as of yet, answering our question. It's a side point in the Torah's Kahanim, right? Dealing with Taisefes Yontif. So you're not being punished Taisefes Yontif L'inyan Malacha. You're not being punished Taisefes Yontif L'inyan Inui. Now, good, you don't get kares. Maybe you get malchus, guys. Maybe if you work Erev Yontif late, when everyone else has started Yom Kippur early, and you're working, you might think you get malchus. Talmud Leimar, v'chol malacha leisasu be'etzem hayom hazeh. In Pasuk Chavches, again, el malacha leisasu be'etzem hayom hazeh. Al yitzuma shel yom hu musar ve'inu musar al Taisefes malacha. You only musar an inyan malchus, even the inyan the day itself. Yachal the same question by Inui. Yachal lo yehei musar al Taisefes malacha. Al musar al Taisefes inui. You're beginning to fast earlier. If you don't, maybe you get kares. Maybe you get malchus. The din who? The din who? That what? The din is that what? That you're not the Eino Musar. The din is that you're not one. Uma malacha shenei hegis b'Shabbos v'yom tovim. Malacha, which is noig b'Shabbos v'yontif. Eino Musar aleha. Inu she'eino noig b'Shabbos v'yontif. Eino din shalei Musar aleha. Alav. Al ashar le'inu shel yom atzmai lo lamadnu. But we didn't learn the ashar of Inu. So in other words, so we brought in these psukim, fellas. What did we see? We brought in these psukim, and what did we see? We saw that the Inyan Taisefes Inui, Taisefes Malacha, in all venues, whether it's Kares, whether it's Malchus, you're not Mechoyev. Now let's get down to brass tacks. What do we need? Again, we have two sources for punishment, both Malacha and eating. We have a lav, a warning for Malacha. We do not have a lav warning for eating. And that's what we're looking for now. Guys, good? That's what we're looking for now. You with me? Good. Says the Gemara. Minayin. So now, Kal B'chaymer. Lo yomer oynish b'malacha. Don't say kares by malacha. The gomar mi inui. Because we'll learn out from inui. Uma inui sheina noig b'Shabbos v'yontif. There's no, you're not allowed to fast on Shabbos v'yontif. But oynish kares on Yom Kippur, if you eat, you get kares. Malacha shenei hegis b'Shabbos v'yom tovim. The Isser Malacha, which is universal, whether it's Yom Kippur or Shabbos and Yontif, like Kol Shekain, you should get kares for. So this pasuk, guys, is extra. You don't have to tell me this. Madach in this pasuk of Tes, you're going to get karis v'nichrasa for eating. Kol shekain malacha and eating is a din only in Yom Kippur, but eating at Shabbos v'yontif is a mitzvah. Kol shekain for work, which is also on Shabbos v'yontif, ain't a din that what you're going to get karis for. So this pasuk's extra. Now, lama nemar. So why this pasuk lamed is stated? Nemar mufna. It must be mufna. It's extra. Lahakish v'lodin mimenu gzeir shava. It must be extra to learn from it gzeir shava. Nemar oynish be'inoi. It says oynish be'inoi. It says the lashon of karis be'inoi. But nemar oynish be'malacha. Ma malacha le'onish elam kain hizir. Af ino le'onish elam kain hizir. So we have a hekesh, guys. This pasuk's extra is lamed. It's extra to teach me that oynish to oynish, this oynish to this oynish. Just like malacha, you only get punished if there's because there's an azhara. So too pasuk of tes, the karis for eating will only be if you get an azhara. Good. Now I in einshim and adin. Okay, there's could be that since we know there's one azhara for both of them, right? That therefore over here we'd say einshim and adin. Now we have a kasha on this kal v'chomer. What's a kal v'chomer predicated upon? Guys, pasuk lamed is extra because I can learn out the oynish from pasuk of tes. I can learn out the oynish of working from the oynish of what? Of eating. Because oynish of working is mochamer, because it's noig by Shabbos Yantiv as well. Now, is everyone warned about Shabbos v'Yantif and Yom Kippur about working? No. The Kahanim did the avoid in the Beis Hamikdash, but everyone fasts. So therefore, there's a chumrah that Inui has over Malacha. So maybe you can't learn Malacha from Inui. Maybe Malacha is not Mochamer. There's a kula of Malacha. The Kabbalah is able to be bought. The avoid is able to be done. And therefore, while it's not extra, you had to tell me that you get punished because you can't learn it from Inui, because Inui is Mochamer because it's noig. Everyone universal, and there's no heter. Ella, let's go a different direction, guys. Now look at the pasuk. We're going to go in the other direction. We're going to say, don't say chavtes and say lamed. Don't say chavtes and lamed. Chavtes will be extra to teach me an ashara. So don't tell me eating you get karis for, and I would know from malacha. Ella lo yoymar oynish be'inoi. Don't say karis by eating. The gomar malacha, because I learned it from malacha. Ma malacha shoch mechlala. Just like malacha, that is a kula. That it's mutter bechlala, oynish karis, inu shleichut mechlala, inu which never has a heter, it's universal like kol shekain. So lo menema, why is pasuk of tes stated? So as mufna, it's extra la hakish v'lodim mimenu gezer shava. Nema oynish binu, v'nema oynish b'malacha, ma malacha oynish v'hizer, af inu oynish v'hizer. Just like by malacha, there's an ashara, so too by ini there's a hara. Now there's an obvious question. We're going to throw it back. Okay, so Amravina, guys, here's the final teretz. Amravina, Haitana, Etzem Gomar. Here you look, guys. Pasuk Chaf Tes. Kikol nefesh shaloi sunu be'etzem hayom hazeh v'nichrosa mi'amecha. V'chol nefesh asher tase kamalacha be'etzem hayom hazeh v'vanti es nefesh yimekerva. Now, by malacha, we know it says etzem, and we know there's an azhara. So too over here, where it says etzem, there's an azhara. So that's how we're learning it out. Because there is shava. Etzem by malacha, you have both. You have oynish and azhara. Etzem by here, even though you only have an oynish, by eating, you'll go etzem there shava. You'll have a azhara. Says the Gemara, mufna. It must be that this etzem is mufna, extra. The loy mufna ikul nefrich kidvachinon. We could have a question. Shabbos, when Shabbos Yontiv, there's no Inoi. Inoi is like Mechlaloi. So therefore, it must be extra. When it's extra, in Meshivan ala Hekesh. Says Morla I, it's true. Afnuye Mufna. But it is extra. It is extra. Why? Chamisha Kroik Sifi b'Malacha. There are 5 separate psukim that it says by Malacha, right? We have in Parshas Emor, we have in Parshas Achimos, we have Parshas Pinchas. Chad la'azhara. Guys, listen up. So this is the first limud, etzem. Guys, this is the first limud. Etzem is going to be the first thing. We're going to have four limudim to know the Azhara. Again, just to reiterate, let's get everyone back. Focus, guys, on my fingers. You have a punishment stated by malacha. You have a punishment stated by eating. That's open. You have an Azhara stated by malacha. You do not have an Azhara stated what? By inui, by eating. We're looking for this. We found it. Etzem. It says etzem by malacha. It says etzem by eating. Just like over here by malacha, it has both. So too over here, it has both. That's what we're saying right now. Good? That's etzem. Now, says the Gemara. Now, how do you know it's extra? Because I have five psukim that describe malacha. Chad la'azhar the yamama, one to warn you if you work during the day. The chad la'azhar the laila, and one that if you work at night. The Gemara, the Achronim and the Rishonim even ask, why would you? We know it's one day. The night by Yerevi Yevoike, the day goes after the night. Why would you think you could go ahead and work at night? So the Tosfos Rosh says Pasuk, it says be'etzem hayom hazeh. It says maybe in the pasuk it says kol malacha be'etzem hayom hazeh. Etzem hayom means the daylight. So therefore you needed a pasuk to tell me nighttime. V'chad lo einish to yamama, v'chad lo einish to laila. Good. One's extra lemigmar ina mimalacha. Bein the mama, bein the laila. Okay, so the first one's etzem. Etzem teaches me the azhara for what? For eating. A second pshat. The Bei Rabbi Shmuel Tana. Nema kan inoi. It says over here inoi. V'nema lahalon, guys, by naira murasa. It says inoi. It says by naira murasa. It says tachas sha'ina. Ma lahalon, just like over there by naira murasa. You're not going to be punished unless what you warned. Afkan is here unless you warned. So second, so we have first Ravinus etzem. We have done Rabbi Shmuel. We have what inu uni from Naira Marasa. Rabbi Yaakov Amar Yolav Shabbos 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 Bereshis. Why does it say over here, guys? Take a look. This pasuk we didn't do. At the end it says pasuk Lamed Beis. Shabbos Shabboson hu lochem v'nisim eshnafsor sheichem. So we learn that Shabbos to Shabbos Bereshis, meaning to our Shabbos. And we all know by our Shabbos you have an azhara and you have a punishment. So just like by our Shabbos you have an azhara and a punishment, so too by Yom Kippur where it says Shabbos Shabboson you have a punishment. Malahalon le'onesh elankin his here, just like by Shabbos you don't, unless you warn. If you're interested, it's Shmos Lamed Aleph Tesvav. Afkan, so too by what? By Inoi, Le'onishalan came his here. So we have now three sources, guys. Three sources. Etzem Ravina. Tana Rabbi Shmuel, we have Inoi from Naira Marasa. And we have Shabbos from what? According to Rav Acha Yaakov. Final pshat, Rav Papa Amar, Amid Beis. Rav Papa Amar, who Gufa Shabbos Ikri. Yom Kippur is called Shabbos. Siv. Tishbishu Shabbatchem. It says in Vayikra Chav Gimel Pasuk Lamed Dalet, right? It says it doesn't say over here because I don't think I have it on the chart.
Why can't you use the word Shabbos Shabbos on this Yom Kippur?
Where's pasuk?
It's on the bottom. Yeah, it's the last puzzle.
Where's pasuk? Where are the base?
Shabbos Shabboson hu lachem v'nisim. Okay, so he says, Me'er v'arav tishbisu Shabbatchem. So it's you should rest Shabbatchem on your Shabbos. Yeah. So we're calling it Shabbos. We're calling it Shabbos. So in other words, I don't have to go to Shabbos Bereshis. I can, from the pasuk itself, I can see it's called Shabbos. From the pasuk itself, it's called Shabbos. That's our papa. So guys, etzem, inui, right? Shabbos Shabboson, and tishbishu Shabbatchem. Now Bishleim Rab Papa who says tishbishu Shabbatchem. Very good to Rab Papa who learns out tishbishu Shabbatchem. Lo yoma kirav acha. He doesn't hold like Rav Acha who makes the tzushtel to Shabbos Bereshis. Right? Why? The Kroah Dechsiv Begufa Odif from the pasuk itself would be a stark limud. You don't have to come with any other source. El Rav Acha Yaakov, my time lo yoma kirav Papa. Why did Rav Acha Yaakov? Why did he have to go jump Shabbos Bereshis? What did he not like about Rav Papa's pshat of Tishbishu Shabbatchem? Stay within the ballpark. So what did he like about that? That's what the Gemara wants to know. So the Gemara says, he, Rav Acha, needed the pasuk of Tishbu Shabbatchem for something else. Therefore, he didn't have an extra to teach me. Therefore, he did not have an extra to teach me what? Ashara for eating. Again, since he needed Tishbu Shabbatchem in the pasuk for something else, he had to come on to the Shabbos Shabbos and to Shabbos Bereshis. What did he need it for? It says, "V'nisim es nafshei sechem." You should go ahead and be ma'ani yourself. Okay, you should go ahead and be ma'ani yourself. V'nisim es nafshei sechem, right? Lachodesh. This is later on. Yeah. Shabbos Shabbos Ulachem, V'nisem Nafsho Sechem. You should go ahead and be Nisem Nafsho Sechem, B'Tisha Lachodesh. You should ma'an yourself, guys, on the 9th of the month. On the 9th of the month. Meaning, mashma, you should fast on the 9th, not the 10th, the 9th. Yochel Yaskel B'Yasana B'Tshi. I might think you begin fasting on the 9th. Tam and Laima Be'erev. Tisha Lachodesh B'Erev, meaning the night of the 9, which is the morning of 10. If you have the word be'erev, I might think only when it gets dark. I might think you only begin when it gets dark. Therefore, it says 9. So, guys, it says Tisha and it says be'erev. So it seems to be contradictory. But Tisha is mashma, you should start fasting on the 9th. Be'erev is mashma, you start fasting on the 10th. How do you reconcile the two? Says Talmud Loimad B'Tisha. Okay, it's that. Maskul u'mesanim b'yoyim. We begin fasting while it's still day. Mikan shemoisifu michal al kodesh. Here we see a moisif michal from the mundane onto yontif. We add on. We start fasting on the 9th, right? We start fasting on the 9th. The ainli ela b'chnisasai. It's only the beginning. B'tziasa when Shabbat yontif leaves. How do you know you can extend the fast to the 11th? Minayin Talmud Loimar. It says, "May erev ad erev, from the night of Leil 10 to Leil 11. May erev ad erev. Now, ve'enli el Yom Kippur. This teaches me on Yom Kippur. Shabbos is minayin. How do you know Shabbos? Also, you be meisav ala choyel ala kodesh. Talmud Loimar. Here's what I need the pasuk for, guys. Tishbesu. I need this tishbesu. This tishbesu that what? That even on Shabbos you meisav chol ala kodesh. Mainly Ella Shabbosais. Yom Tovim Minayin, Talmud Loimar, Shabbatchem. Okay, Tzad, Kalmakam Shnemar Shvus, any place where it's Shvus, right? You can go ahead. Meisef Michal Ala Kodesh. The last thing, any place comes to include Shemitah. So, guys, in answer to the question, look at the pasuk. According to Rav Acha Yaakov, if he learns out, it says Shabbos Shabbosai, Shabbos Bereshis. According to Rav Papa, he learns out for Tishbashu Shabbatchem. He learns out from itself. Rav Acha Yaakov could not learn like Rav Papa because he needed Tishbashu Shabbatchem to tell me there's a din of Vaisafa by Shabbos and by Yontif. That's what he uses Tishbashu Shabbatchem for. Got it? That's the din of Ma'aseh Michal Kodesh. The Tana the Et now the Tana the Etzem the Etzem Habatisha LaChodesh May Abedlei. Now, fellas. Going back to the previous Gemara, the one who said he learned that etzem, right? And we had this whole Gezerah Shava. I might think Yechayev that if you eat on Tosefes, Kamash Malon, it says Betzam Yomazeh. I might think Malacha if you do on Tosefes. Come on, obviously, guys, he holds there's a din of Tosefes that you're not Chayev. Because he had limudim. The Psukim said, you're only chayiv on the day itself. You're not chayiv on the Tosefes, right? So what does he do with it? He needs the pasuk Tishbashu Shabbatchem. What does he do with that? In other words, he doesn't need it to teach me Tosefes. What does he do with it? The Tanichia Barav Midifti says very famous limud. You should be ma'ani yourself on the 9th day. You only start fasting on the 10th. Anyone who eats and drinks on the 9th day, the Torah considers it as if what? he goes ahead and he's misana under the she and the asiri. So that's what he uses it for. So again, that's the chazal ibra. We saw there's an ashara for malacha. We didn't see an ashara for eating. We saw there's a punishment for eating. We saw there's a punishment for that. Where do we know that there is a ashara for eating? We had 4 pshatim. It says be'etzem hayom hazeh by malacha. It says be'etzem hayom hazeh by eating. Just like by malacha, it's both. So to here, it's both. We had a limud for from Inui, from Nair Marasa, just like Nair Marasa. She has to, it's warned, the guy before he's Ma'anasa, is warned, so too over here you have to be warned. We had a limud from Shabbos Shabbosin to Shabbos Bereshis. We had that was the Rav Acha Yaakov. We have a purpose din of Tishbshu Shabbatchem. Why did Rav Acha do with this pasuk? Why he needed it for something else? He needed it for Tosefes Yantif. Like the man etzem that you already know Tosefes Yantif. He uses Tishbshu Shabbatchem. You should start fasting mat. You should go ahead and this pasuk that you just go ahead. V'nisim Hashem b'tshi l'chodesh is that you should start eating on the 9th. You eat on the 9th. It's like you do for the 10th. Now it's very interesting. The sugya of eating on the, what's the Indian of eating on the 9th? What's the Indian of eating on the 9th? So there's many terutzim. So if you look over here in Rashi gives the mashmais. Kol oichel v'shaises is Rashi. V'hachi mashmakra. V'nisim b'tisha kloimar. Hitaken atzmecha b'tisha. It doesn't mean to pain yourself. It means to prepare yourself for the pain. Prepare yourself that you should be able to fast by Sarah on the 10th. When it uses the Lashon B'nisem, it's teaching you by your preparation that you do on the 9th, it's for the 10th, it's like you fasted. So the reason that you go ahead and eat on the 9th day is to make it easier to fast on the 10th day. The reason you do it on that day is to make it easier. It's a very, very nice Kliyakar. Kliyakar wrote a sefer called Oilos Ephraim. It says a very nice sefer. Gemara says that Mabar Rav Ashi fasted the whole year except 3 days. He fasted the whole year except 3 days. He didn't fast on Shavuos. He didn't fast on Purim, and he didn't fast on the 9th of Tishrei. We had the sugya, and we're going to see it again in Masechta Beitza. There's a machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Is Yontif is Lashem or Lachem? So one says Kul Hashem, one says okay, but everyone's moida that Shavuos is Lachem. Matan Torah is Lachem. There's a mitzvah Shavuos. Everyone says is Lachem. Says the Oilos Ephraim. Those are the 3 components over here. All 3 have to do with Matan Torah. Shavuos, of course, you got the Torah. Purim, Kimu v'Kiblu HaYehudim. The first we got is with Kofalim Harkegigis. This one we were accepted b'Yero b'Ava. And on Tisha B'Av, we know Moshe came down with the second Luchas, guys. He went up on Yud Zayin and broke him and went up, came down 40 days later, right? And he gave us, so they all have to do with Torah. So that's the reason. He couldn't, when it came to Torah, how can he go ahead and not eat? So he really should be fasting on Yom Kippur, because that's when he came down, because you're not allowed to fast on Yom Kippur, so he went a day before. So that's another reason that we fast on the 9th day. A third reason is very easy, is Geshmak. We want to be Moitzim Libish and Tzedaikim. Through this Masechta, we saw so many times we were Moitzim Libish and Tzedaikim. The whole reason we said you leave the Kaf and Machta inside the Kodesh Kodashim is to go back in to show that both were in there. Because later Tzedaikim, only one thing was in there. Under Tzedaikim, only the Machta, because they didn't need the Tyrus, because they did it outside. The whole reason was to be Moitzim Libish and Tzedaikim. Later Tzedaikim, they would fast 2 days. They would fast the 9th, and they begin fasting the 9th and the 10th. So it's a mitzvah to go ahead and eat on the 9th. It's another 3 pshatim, and why we do that. He said, Abel Oichlin, Shein Royal Achila, Oichlin that's not Royal Achila, you're not Machayev. Amar Rabba, Kas Pilpele, someone who chews pepis, the Yuma Kadi Pur on Yom Kippur, Potter. It's not an Achila. Kos Zangvila, that's ginger. The Yuma de Kippure is Potter. It's not Achila. Mesivei, the pasuk says, when you come into Eretz Yisrael and you plant all fruit-bearing trees, its fruit will be fashtup, it'll be closed off for you. Now, once it's said Michael, Any there sheitz Michael. Who once it says period? I know it's Michael. Why do you have to say it's Michael? Almat tamalema it's Michael. Eitz shetam eitzay upir shava. It's an eitz that you can taste in the fruit, and the eitz are equal. Haviyim ezel pelpelin. That's peppers. Lemdecha shapelpelin chayav ba'orla. Now, if the chayiv and orla guys, then obviously it's an eichel. The ein Eretz Yisrael chosr klum, and even peppers are found in Eretz Yisrael. Bottom line, you got a kasha. How can you tell me that eating peppers is not a devar achila? If it wasn't a devar achila, why would there be a din of orla? Shenemar leisechsa kolba. Anyway, like kasha, haber tivasa. If it's moist, then it's eichel. Haber yaveshta. If it's dried out peppers, then it's not a bar achila. So when Rabbi said, if you chew peppers, your putter, it's speaking about dried pepper, not moist pepper. Now we're going to ask on ginger. The Omar Rav Nachman, Hi Himalta. Himalta is ground ginger and honey. The Asa Mibei Hundoi. It came from Mehudoi. Sharia. Rashi tells us Sharia. You don't have to worry about Bishalakum because this can be eaten raw. Anything that can be eaten raw, you don't have to worry about Bishalakum. It can be eaten raw. You don't have to worry about any tarfis that is in the kli, the nice and tam gam, because usually it's not a ben yomo, and therefore we said it's nice and tam gam. With the gomer, bottom line is, you see that what you can eat ginger when it's raw. So how can you tell me you're not chayef eating ginger? You see, you are. It says and you make a bari priyadama. Bottom line is you have a kasha. Like kasha, no, you don't. Habri tivasa. When is it ginger? That's when it's moist. Then it's an eichel. Habri yaveshta. When's it not an eichel? That's when it's dry. Same teretz. Ton rabbanan. Ale konim potter. If you eat a reed leaves of reeds, you potter. That's not an eichel. Lul vegafanim. If you eat grapevine shoots, that's chayiv. Grapevine shoots seems to be an eichel. Eluhein lul vegafanim. At which point in time are they considered lulei gefanim that it's an eichel? So Rabbi Yitzchak megadla kol shelav lavloi, anything that blooms may Rosh Hashanah ad Yom Kippur, that 10-day period. Of kanam and kol shleishim yain, the bigger chum, any 30 days. Tani goes to Rabbi Yitzchak megadloi achol ali konim pato v'lo gefanim chayev. Elohim lulei gefanim kol shelav lavloi, it goes ahead and blooms may Rosh Hashanah ad Yom Kippur. That's still considered an eichel. He says shashat sira moris pato, this drink would not be considered an eichel. You wouldn't be chayiv for shtia. It's chayiv. Mashma, if you drink vinegar, you'd be chayiv. Masnis and money. Who's the Tana of a Mishnah that says vinegar? We're making an inference. Dafka tzira murius yapata. Chaymitz, you'd be chayiv. Who's the one that says that chaymitz is an oichel? Money Rabbi. The Tanya Rabbi Omer chaymitz meishaves a nefesh. Chaymitz will restore your nefesh. If you eat, drink it. Mashma, it's a good thing. Darish Rav Gidl Bar Menashe mi bimi denarish. He darshan on the bimi denarish in the place. Ain't a lacha Rebbe. The lacha is not like Rebbe, meaning it's not an eichel. The shana nafka kuli alma, everyone out. Mozgu, they went ahead and they diluted vinegar. V'shasu, and they drank it on Yom Kippur. They said it's not a drink. V'shasa chala. Shomer of Gidl v'akbid. It was makbid. Amar. Aimer the amri, I know the evet. I said the evet, if you drink it, you pot up. L'chavchila mutter. Did I say it's mutter to drink? The amri. Aimer the amri, I know porta. I said a little bit. Tuva mi amri. Only if it's raw. Mozug mi'amri. I did not say that. So therefore he was a little upset. Okay, everyone should have a good Shabbos. Frankly, I'm not exactly